here's an example of contextual storytelling. Now, forgive my appearance because I've been camping in the African bush for the last 3 weeks and I am a bit wrecked. I'm on a major shoot. So, I woke up this morning and the first thing I hear are birds. So immediately I'm thinking, how can I use the bird sounds? This is something that I want to put into my program because it's really interesting and it's lovely. It's just plain beautiful sound. So just like with when you're capturing video, you're capturing sound. So you're saying, okay, this is a beautiful sound, I'd like to use that. Do it all the time. Or here's a beautiful image. The light is gorgeous. The subject is brilliant. How can I use it in my program? Contextual storytelling means that I take that element that I see and want to put into the story and I give it a context. So this morning was very, very simple. The sequence I'm going to show you now, right now as I'm recording this very instant, I don't know if it's going to work. I'm not in the edit suite. That footage is in that camera and in that camera. But what I did is I decided, well, what story can I tell that is relative to the bird sound? Had I got an amazing picture of a bird this morning, and I've been photographing the birds, and I didn't really get terribly many very good pictures. It wasn't really so much about that, it was more about the sound. The story was more about the sound. So I thought, well, what story can I tell about what I'm hearing? What the audience is hearing, what I am offering the audience. So I compiled this story in my head and filmed it. I spoke about my childhood, recordings, school project. Now at this moment, this very moment I'm talking to you, I don't know if I've got in my library that original recording that I actually submitted to my school. I don't know. But if I have, I'm going to use it in the edit. But it's a soundtrack. So what pictures am I going to put over that soundtrack? I'm going to need some pictures. Am I going to put some actual bird pictures? Well, I don't have to. I do have to get images of this, because that's contextual. If I just get some arbitrary image, it's out of context. But if I display what I'm seeing and what I'm experiencing right this very minute, because this is an adventure travel show, it's very much in the minute, what I'm experiencing right now. So I can get shots of birds, I can get shots of leaves, of trees, of a whole lot of things that will be in context to run the soundtrack over. Secondly, I've recorded lots and lots of beautiful, beautiful bird sounds this morning over pretty bland images. So I have to go and find B-roll, nice images, over which to run that beautiful soundtrack. Two separate things. But the context of the story is two. A, me being here right now enjoying the bird sounds and remembering my childhood where I recorded bird sounds for a school project. So that's the context that people will now enjoy the bird calls and the bird sounds. I'm still sleeping. Sounds like a noisy Burchell starling with another small bird taking dictation. Sounds like a typewriter. I'm officially a wreck this morning. I couldn't have a shower last night because there was no hot water, even though they'd lit in the donkey boiler. The plumbing is just a complete mess there. So anyway, didn't have a good night because there was a mouse or something scurrying around the outside of my tent making a lot of noise. But I woke up this morning to this incredible bird song. It just, unbelievable. Such a beautiful thing to wake up to. And it reminded me, I wasn't very academically good at school. In fact, I was pretty terrible actually. I was voted the kid that would amount to absolutely nothing by I think every teacher and most of the pupils. But I did do two projects One was just an ad hoc, open-ended project, do what you like, 4 marks. I think it was grade 11. And I did a Birds of Botswana project where I drew a map, and I had pictures of different birds, and I think there were 6 or 8 birds in the collection. I'm not quite sure, but it came with a collection of bird sounds on a cassette tape. Now, when I was very, very young, I used to record bird sounds when I went out with my dad on these trips, and the bird sounds, at least 3 of them I've heard this morning from my tent, and the 3, which, considering how many there were, could be as many as 50% of the entire bird collection, were Arrow-marked babbler, Burchell starling. They are amongst the most noisy of the birds here. I also had on my list African golden oriole. That was actually, well, the Burchell starling was mimicking the African golden oriole.
Where we find a Burchell starling imitating an African golden oriole. During my various bird recording trips into Botswana, I did record a few birds that I still have not identified. This one I believe to be some kind of shrike.
See that guy? He's a black-eyed bulbul. He was another bird in my bird collection. And, can you hear that? I think, not 100% sure, another one was the yellow-billed hornbill. That noise there? Yellow-billed hornbill. I thought that would be too much of a coincidence. It sounded like a golden oriole.
Meanwhile, on the plains far below, something is stirring.
Every time you turn on your camera, your brain should be thinking, unless you're just getting shots for later use, B-roll they call it. But if you're actually creating a story, think about the image or the sound, or both. In what context can I put that to tell a good story? Because a shot of a bird is nice as a shot of a bird. But a shot of a bird is much nicer when it is in context with a bigger story. That is the basic, simple principle of this kind of storytelling.
Here is a good example of when a story just appears. It's not necessarily scripted, it's something that you've been looking for. You're aware of stories as they happen. So the rule of this kind of storytelling is that because it's not scripted, you have to have your creative brain on all the time. So when something happens, you react immediately and you turn yourself into filming, capturing, storytelling mode. In this particular situation, we were filming an interview to camera. There was a nice tree. The ground was this very earthy brown. It kind of felt very Africa-ish. And so it was a nice background for an interview. And I was interviewing Paul Marsh, my traveling companion, for another project that we are involved in. And we'd set up the interview, and you can see in the background there's somebody walking down the road. That didn't really disturb me. I was using a long focus lens, so the background was out of focus. The audience was now focused on Paul talking. But this man who came up, walking up the road, and we were filming as he came up, and he said hello.
Hello. How are you? Fine. How are you? We well, thank you. Yeah.
And he said, we've got a puncture. We've got a double puncture. And we said, well, how far are you away? And he said, about 3 kilometers. And I immediately thought, here could be a story. I didn't know if it was going to be a story. I thought this could be a story. Something's happening. And we were in the mode of capturing interesting things and very much kind of enjoying the moment, enjoying the experience. That was the broader picture. So we then finished our interview, packed up the car, and I actually said something to camera. I knew that something was going to happen, but I didn't know what. So I said to Jeremy, who was filming, I said, point the camera at me, and then while I'm talking, swing the camera away through the windshield. So then I've got a windshield shot, and I've got a me talking shot. I need both. A boat onto the lake. And looks like somebody has a problem. Maybe we can ask them to see if there's a... Okay. Get a shot out of the window, Jeremy. So somehow he's got to shoot both. So I can edit, when in the edit suite, I can edit me talking. But because I've got an intercut of the vehicle approaching the event, I can cut into and out of my talking whenever I like. In other words, I don't have to run all of what I'm saying, or I can run some of what I'm saying over the approach shot. You see, again, this is giving me choices. Always using your brain, giving choices in the edit suite. And then I'm going to point it at Jeremy. I think.
So this is the Thai.
We stopped the vehicle and I realized immediately that this was going to potentially be a very nice story. It turned out to be one of the best stories of the entire series.
Here's the hole.
Here. This is where it was.
That's where it's leaking from. Okay, we can plug that.
We can fix it.
Fix it for you.
You are saying he knows how to.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's where we live.
You can.
Absolutely.
He's a big man.
Yeah, you need the strength.
Yeah.
Let me get the tools, and we're gonna plug it, and then we're gonna put the compressor and blow it up again.
Ah, no, that's
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
When we were actually doing the repair of the tires, I was shooting a lot of the footage and I would give the camera to Jeremy. Now, Jeremy is not a professional cameraman. He's a photographer, but he's not a video cameraman. And I would actually have to say to him, and I'll show you the final edited piece, but I'll also show you some of the footage, because I said to Jeremy, change position. Because what he was doing, he was filming what was going on, but he was making a classic mistake in not moving. That on one side of frame, that on, no, from here, and so that's in the background. Roll it.
Really?
Have you removed? This one we don't know now.
Change angles. Any angle, but a different one. There we go. I'm going to come in forward you and then move out. So give me action.
Action?
Using the 4-second rule, 4 seconds minimum, maybe it's 6 seconds, maybe it's 10 seconds, but by the time you've got 10 seconds and it's the same thing happening, then it's time to move, isn't it, in the edit. However, this is a very, very big important thing to remember. When you're changing angle, maybe the sound, somebody talking is really important. Then you just let the camera roll, because now what you're doing is not just catching images, you're actually capturing really valuable sound. So again, your brain has to be sound in the air, visual in the eye, and you've got to be aware of both. But you'll hear me say to Jeremy, move the camera. Because in the end of the edit suite, wanted to be able to have choices to cut from this angle, this angle, this angle, this angle, with a soundtrack running over the top, which would be relatively smooth, There would be a story, we would repair the tyre, we would see if it worked, we would repair the tyre, we would see if it worked, we would say goodbye, and it worked extremely well. And looks like somebody has a problem. Maybe we can ask them to see if there's a... Okay.
But this one, I think we have removed it.
Here's the hole.
Here. This is where it was.
That's where it's leaking from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we can plug that.
We can fix it.
Mm-hmm.
Fix it for you.
You are saying he knows how to.
Yeah, I'm sure. That's where we live.
Because of
You can.
Absolutely.
he's a big man.
Yeah, you need the strength.
Yeah.
This is a group of trainee builders and carpenters on their way to college, being driven by an NGO driver. Their 20-year-old Land Cruiser has suffered not one but 2 punctures.
It's tubeless, eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Our vehicles are supplied with a compressor and repair kits, so we should be in a good position to help them get going again.
Mm-hmm.
Tubeless
Repair kit.
Okay. And sometimes you have to use more than one.
Or if it's the hole is too
If
big.
it's too big, yeah. So then I turn 90 degrees.
Yeah. Ah.
Okay, and I think we might have to put another one in there.
It's quite a big tear, and a single plug isn't going to seal it.
2 in there.
Have you removed?
That's 2 plugs.
Another one.
We're going to need to try and squeeze another one in. See if we can patch it. It's actually a split. It's not just a hole, it's actually a split. So I'm going to try another one. Take the split. Ah, yeah. All right. We take the valve out.
This one is going to need a proper mushroom patch to be done from the inside, but for now it'll get them to where they're going.
Here we go. Should be good enough. You've made the valve tight? Did you put the valve
tight?
back?
As for the second repair, it's better.
Looks good.
Yeah, it's good. Now we can get to Siabua now.
Everyone is very happy, but for one thing.
There it is. It broke. Mm-hmm.
Their jack just broke. As you can see, the end result worked really, really well. Now, when Paul discovered that he had this jack that he could give to these people as a gift, I was filming and I turned around and he was about to give the jack to the person, and I thought,
Where's the whole jack? Show me where's the jack.
It's still on the vehicle. There it is. It broke. Mm-hmm.
and I realized this is an amazing part of this. This is a beautiful ending to the story. It just happened. And I yelled at him and I said, Paul. Now, of course, he wasn't thinking filmmaking and storytelling, because he's not a filmmaker and storyteller. But I had to say, stop. I said to him, Paul, you've been working for me for 10 years, with me for 10 years. And he went, oh, of course. And he realized, silly mistake. And I said, go away and do it again. But I didn't want to lose the moment. So I swung the camera around and I hit the button. Okay, hand it over, go.
Okay, here we go, guys. Here's a present for you, okay?
Thank you so much.
Can't go without
Thank
the
you
jack.
so
We
much.
have 2, so...
So he didn't do it twice, he did it only once, but the point I'm making here is that I was aware that something was going on that would make a great part of the story. And look what happened. Their jack just broke. As it happens, Paul to the rescue again.
Okay, here we go, guys. Here's a present for you, okay?
Thank you so
Can't
much.
go without
Thank
the
you
jack.
so
We
much.
have 2, so... All right.
He just happens to be carrying a brand new Toyota Jack. It's a spare in his truck.
It's your trophy.
Yeah, it's our
You win the match.
World Cup.
Now that was genuine, and it felt genuine. You see, you can't do things like that again. You only get one chance of having that wonderful moment. And as a director, cinematographer, filmmaker, your brain has got to be in that active storytelling mode the whole time. You're constantly aware of the story that is being unfolded, and then aware when things happen and how to move really quickly. And it's why I use the cameras that I do. They're small, they're light, they're compact. It enables me to swing around and hit the red button and be recording in an instant, because those instants often only happen once.